I think and feel about sound and play with it and work with it since childhood. It's in a way like the TARDIS of Doctor Who for me. My inside, by this imagination of sound that I'm always working with and playing with, makes my inside so much bigger than the outside, and that's already big enough. What is so fascinating with sound? It's the first sense that awakens when we are still in the womb of our mothers. And as far as I know, it's the last sense when dying. So it seems to be a very important sense that we have. A baby makes sounds, and we understand by these sounds what it wants quite clearly. And even when you think of grown-ups, of course my wife wants to hear more words from me, but I make sounds and she understands. So why use words? Okay, funny, but it's more important than the word sometimes, the sound of a word. And that's what fascinates me and what makes me search for variability in sound and think and play and work all around sound. Being a pianist and organist, composer, I work with sound, of course. I'm most fascinated and work most on the possibility to do various sounds and not just louder and softer in dynamics. And that's what I try to teach, and that's what I try when I play chamber music with other instruments, that I try new combinations and that I develop new sounds by mixing with other instruments and getting new ideas, how I can change, how I can articulate, how I can do dynamical differences. And also using keyboards and electronic keyboards as well. I am much more fascinated by the possibilities of acoustical instruments, because the variability mightn't be that big in dynamic and obvious in change of sound. But when you think of how our voice with very little differences expresses quite a lot, you know why I'm working on that. Well, sound I did not only search on the piano and on the organ and with other instruments, but besides being an artist, I did quite a lot of researching work since about 25 years now. And we found quite a lot of interesting things that even were forbidden up to now, but which make the life easier and which give tools in the hands of pianists to become much better and to do much better interpretation for the audience by better sound, by more various sounds. Single words and no sentences. Touching, connecting, a being, rays of feeling, maybe intangible. I remember experiments that we did in synesthesian things about sound and color. But we asked the students to write down as well their imagination of other senses or imaginations. And that came out sometimes very funny things. One wrote when he heard a sound, "Oh, that's like the waves at the beach of St. Peter-Ording." Or another wrote, "This sound is salty." And another wrote, "It's like a snowflake dancing in the wind." That's very hard to answer, because I have lots of ideas what to work. And maybe I can concentrate on two of them. First of all, I would like to work interdisciplinary. It's always very interesting and washing the brain to work with quite differently formatted brains and human persons. I could imagine different ways to get my full experience of life, of sound and its variabilities in connection to counterparts of other disciplines and make them usable for people who are in a way densibilized today. A second theme I'm very much interested in as a teacher especially. I want to build a sound catalogue together with sports medicine. The possibilities of changing colors on a piano and the physical action that is necessary for that, I know quite well by experience, at least a lot of things. But I think it's very necessary because of the high percentage of persons getting sick in the drive of their life, in the course of their life, and even unable to play the instrument. That's a reason for me to search seriously. Well, of course, there is one book that I wrote together with my assistant Michael Reuter and with my wife about acoustics in piano, where we had to prove that it is possible to play piano not only louder and softer, but with different partial tones and exactly the same dynamics. And we could prove it, and we even could prove that an aftertouch is possible in different variation of partial tones and dynamics. Little dynamic changes, but anyway, when you are sensible, you will notice and your feelings will be influenced by that. Another book that is, I think, a basic work for everybody researching for sound aspects is written by a dear colleague, Rainer Bayreuther. It's about what are sounds, and it's an ontology of sound, I think, that doesn't exist so far. It's a pity that the book so far is only in German, but we hope that it will be published soon in English as well. It comes from really old times and analyzes all aspects of this phenomenon till modern times with its new manifestations. And it's with many examples so that you easily can understand what it's all about. He starts speaking about it cannot be touched, it cannot be seen, so what is sound? And goes on to philosophical ideas, and well, really fascinating. You ought to read it.